The purpose of this um, Zoom video is to show you how to use Google Docs and a quick tour and how to use the NAC app as one of the leadership members of the NAC team. So here's a quick agenda for this Zoom meeting. I'm going to show you how you can view and open your Google Docs in Gmail, how you can use a Google Doc for your NAC app leadership page that has been created for you, how to add content on your Google Doc, add links like useful YouTube videos, even add images. Next, what is Google Docs sharing, viewing, and editing, and how do you use those features? We'll take a quick tour of the NAC app so you can find your Google Doc that way instead of having to go to your Gmail or your Google Docs or your Google Drive. So it may be just easier for you to do it that way. Now, I have had some questions about, in general, how does someone access the Google Doc with an iPhone? So what you have to do, and I can send a link if anyone needs this, but basically you go into your app store and you go ahead and download the app that's called Google Docs. You type that in your search bar for that app store. You go ahead and install after you've downloaded the Google Doc app, and then you open and run the Google Doc app. Next, you will have to log in with your Gmail username and password to get access to that. And then once you've done that, you're in the Google Doc app and you can open any apps that are attached to that Gmail address. And so they will automatically all show up. So what I've done here is I actually have this Google Doc in a separate email account that I don't really use, and I have shared it, and I'll show you how to do this later. I have shared it with my other Gmail address that I use. So I'm going to go over to that other Gmail account, and I had received an email previously from my second Gmail address, and in that was the same document we just viewed, NAC Leader Zoom. Now, if I open that, and since I'm logged into Chrome in this Gmail, that document automatically opens up here, and this little green icon indicates that the other account has a cursor there. If I type anything up in here, that's going to reflect on the other side immediately. So this is the beauty of Google Docs and why we've chosen to use Google Docs for this NAC app. So that is one way for you to open a Google Doc using the Gmail. As I referred earlier, you can also go into your Google Drive, and then you can find in your Google Drive where the same documents would be, and so they can also be found by opening just your Google Docs in general, and a list of all of your Google Docs will show up. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda, let's get that back up, is going to be how do you use the Google Doc for your NAC leadership page? So there are various ways to do that. And when I initially sent this out, the first person that went and popped something in was Dr. Mills. So this is the NAC app, and it looks very similar to the portal. Okay, so what you'll do is to access your page is you're going to go find the top level category for the NAC leadership, and then as a section leader, service line leader, or Anestis section chief, you will click that section. For example, Dr. Mills is the regional nerve block director, and here is a way to get to his page. So here is a link to his page, and here is a link to his Google Doc, which opens. And he has already put in a ton of information, including an outline for each of these doctors. If you're not familiar with how to do that, it really isn't that hard. I can sit down and show you sometime how to do it. Okay, so that is another way that you'll be able to get to your Google Doc. Next on the agenda is how do we add content to the Google Doc that you've created? As you saw on Dr. Mill's page, he went and put an outline for what he had written. He also typed in a lot of content about surgeon preferences. So content can just be typing a bunch of information. Content can also be adding videos or images. So in this example, if you want to add a link for a YouTube video, you can type the content you want about the ultrasound guided adductor canal block, come up to that YouTube video, and down here is a section called share. If you share, you can just copy this link right here, come back to your document, and then just simply right click and paste. And that gives anyone that views your Google Doc a simple way to pull up that video. As far as adding images, if you have images that are stored on your computer or your Google Drive, you can access them directly from the Google Doc by coming up to Insert Image from the Google Drive, and then we can choose any image that we have, insert it, and voila, there it is. Now, Google Doc will allow you to position and size it just how you want, okay? Put it where you want. So that's a very simple way, not so complicated, to do that. What is Google Doc sharing, viewing, and editing? Every Google Doc has an owner, but it can also be shared. So if you click the share button here and you go to advanced, what you can see is this is the actual link to get to this Google Doc, and you can simply copy that and paste that in an email or however you want to share it. You could even put it into the Google Doc itself and paste it that way for someone to get to. Going back to that advanced page, I am the owner, but I've shared it with another email address, and there can be different credentials. There can be owners, editors, people can comment, and people can view. So you choose what you want. You can invite someone just by typing in their Gmail address, and that will send them a link just the same way that I have sent that to you in your Gmail. Going back to the NAC app, let's take a quick tour. This is the link to the app, and I'm going to send that to you in an email. If we look at the app, here's the main page, and we have different news that will show. For example, the big news that there is a new NAC app. The protocols are all listed here. To take a quick look at Dr. Hamilton's most recent Google Doc for the fast track, he owns this and can make any changes and updates, and this is new as recent as this month. To go back, you can look, feel free to check out the other protocols that have already been put in. Some need some work. The reason this app was designed was for new physicians or anesthetists to figure out where to show up for work. So all the anesthetizing locations and useful information for physicians and anesthetists are all listed here. If someone is going to ENT for the first time, they'll be able to see the relevant address, some phone number information. Dr. Sugarman has a great Google Doc that has all the information here about that center. If the physician doesn't even know where it is, they can just click the link to the Google map, and that will show exactly where the center is located, and then they can input their directions where they're coming from to get there. And this can be done from the phone or the computer. So that is a great feature here for the new docs. As far as your leadership, this is the section or category for the NAC leadership. Section leaders have a subcategory here, service line leaders, and the Anestis section chiefs. So each of the section leaders for the physicians will have his or her own page, and that goes back to Dr. Mills's example here with his Google Doc. But you have the ability to put the relative information that you want on here, and that will hopefully give us a great way to communicate the new and awesome things going on here. If you have any more questions about any of this stuff, I'd be happy to sit down and explain it to you. And I think we've completed our agenda.